I'm Steve Walker Duncan, and I'm on a quest. As a professional chef for 25 years and an instructor at the Camosun College Culinary Arts program, I truly believe we have some of the best food in the world right here on the West Coast. Join me in discovering some of these culinary treasures. This week, I'm in Victoria exploring its thriving coffee culture. It's hard to walk down any street here without passing at least one coffee place. The large chains are here, of course, working towards world domination as usual, but there's also an amazing number of small independent shops, each offering a unique atmosphere along with their unique blends. If you're lucky, you might even get served by a champion barista, turning your daily cup of joe into a work of art. Victoria must be one of the world's best places to take a coffee break. Before getting into the coffee, I need a good breakfast, and I know just where to get it. John's Place is a Victoria landmark. They've been serving the best local breakfasts and other meals for nearly 30 years. It was opened in 1984 by Chef John Canton, who still makes an unbeatable eggs benny. And I began my career right here working for John.
25 years, I see you on the wall. I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me.
So what inspired him to open his iconic eatery?
When I arrived, there was no place to go for breakfast.
No good places.
There was franchises.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I came from Los Angeles in America. We love our breakfast places.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how it got created.
So John, what is it that makes your food stand out from everybody else's? Because it really does. It's so much better.
The big thing for me is, again, luckily being a chef and not just, coming in off the street, everything that we make is homemade. Yeah. So we make our bread every day. We make the hollandaise. We only use butter. People use margarine. Yeah. Every dressing is made. The mayonnaise is made. And I think people really appreciate it.
I know I certainly do. After that magnificent breakfast, I'm ready for some coffee. I'm exploring Victoria's coffee culture. Why is Victoria such a great place for coffee? I asked Jason Finnerty, a Royal Roads alumni whose academic research gave us a simple answer.
It's, I think, just part of the West Coast culture. I mean, we sort of picked some of it up, I guess, from Seattle, but maybe they grabbed it from us. We've got the wet weather and a nice cup of coffee, and the dampness makes the day much better. And then the rest of the year, when it's gorgeous and sunny here, still, a good cup of coffee makes a day much better.
Iced coffees are just as good as hot coffees.
Almost.
Of course, great coffee starts with great beans, and one man who knows his beans is Stacey Taves of Level Ground. He's not just committed to great coffee, he's committed to sustainability as well.
Historically, coffee has been big business, and brokers move the coffee between the producing community and the roaster who adds the value and sells into the consumer market. And South American farmers still use the term, a very pejorative term for brokers. They call them coyotes. They saw that the coyote was really a negative component in the trade chain because it insulated the consuming community from really knowing anything about what's going on in the producing community. Right. And so we've had a goal of doing a direct trade relationship, and that's what we do. And we tell them up front, 12 months in advance, how much coffee we intend to buy and what our negotiated price is for that. They save us their best beans. Yeah. They know they're going to get the best price from that. We have very clear quality standards that they work to, and it's an incredible win-win situation for both of us then.
Once the beans arrive, the quality comes down to the skill of the roaster.
We roast them in what are called civets, fluid bed roasters. There's no moving parts within the machine where the coffee sits. It's simply air that's heated by natural gas, moving around very quickly, kind of like a giant hot air popcorn popper. Okay. You always roast light to find defects. Yeah. If you want to hide defects, you burn them, right? And that's what a lot of roasters do with bad coffee or coffee that's mediocre quality, or they blend. But we've typically championed the single origin coffee. So we sell coffee and it's Colombia, Tanzania, Peru, and in so doing, the coffee stands on its own two legs. We have the coordinates GPS-wise of where that coffee came from, and we can tell a really accurate story and quantify the impact of trade in that community. I think the biggest concern I have for coffee quality in people's kitchens, come to breakfast time, say, they pull the package that they purchased at the local store out and they usually put it into a paper filter. Right. Now, when you think of the flavor that you're consuming when you're tasting your coffee, the flavor all comes from the oil.
Right. Yeah.
You think of how would you best trap oil and not let it get through to your finished product? You'd use a paper filter. It's like specially designed to hold flavor and not let you taste it.
Yeah.
Because you end up throwing away the grounds, often with most of the oil, and you're drinking just the water that was exposed to the grounds. And as soon as you go to a metal filter, like a reusable one, a lot more oils get through, so you get better flavor. Okay. But if you go to a French press, you get so much better results in terms of a freshly ground pot of coffee. So my constant campaign is use the French press. It makes a little bit of a mess if you grind and dump it in there, but come on, the quality, it's no trade-off.
And while we're talking sustainability, the excellent Cafe Fantastico must be a contender as one of the greenest coffee bars in Victoria. It's in Dockside Green, an award-winning new development on an old industrial site that is attracting worldwide attention for its advanced environmental design. I met with John Turner of Fortis BC over a coffee to talk about their contribution to the project.
So what is it that makes this project different from normal traditional energy systems?
What we've done in this particular system is we've incorporated a made in BC technology from Nextera that would use wood fiber to generate gas, to generate heat, to heat the building with.
Okay.
That would be supplemented with natural gas when it's required. And the whole solution provides a much lower carbon footprint for this development. In fact, it contributed to this development's LEED Platinum status.
Wow, and I understand this is recognized worldwide, this particular project, for the high levels of LEED it's accomplished.
It's garnered a lot of attention worldwide, as you say. A lot of people have come to visit to see how they could do similar developments in their own countries, in their own provinces.
So John, what was the original inspiration for getting involved in the Dockside Green project?
Steve, when we have customers that have a vision and they get us involved early in conversation about that vision, that's what gets us excited. So when this customer came to us and they were interested in a very low carbon solution for their heating and hot water, we were very excited to try and put that together for them. And there's a whole portfolio of opportunities for us to do that. We have a portfolio of products and services that we can bring to the table, and this was a perfect match for the solution that we ended up with.
Hidden in the back streets of Victoria is the Parsonage, home to Fernwood Coffee and Rob Kettner, 2010's Canadian champion barista, who's invited me to cup coffee.
So what do we got here? This is quite a
So
setup.
what we're going to do here is a standardized formal coffee cupping. Which is a way of evaluating coffee for defects, but also just evaluating coffee for quality. If you just take one of these bowls and we'll shake it around just to
aerate a little bit,
and then just put it really right over your nose and take it in, and let's move around the table and get an idea of what we're dealing with there. We've ground this fairly coarse, so most of these grinds are going to just still sit right on the top, and we're going to skim them off when we're ready to start drinking and tasting this coffee. First thing that we would do is break the crust of the coffee and take in the wet aroma. Push the crust 3 times, and you're going to be smelling while you're doing that. So you're really just kind of drawing up. Yep. If you don't have a little brown spot on your nose by the end of part of the cupping, there's something wrong.
So this is where it's good to be a brown noser.
Exactly. I want you to get right in there. All right, don't let me down on this. So the next step is just to skim these grounds that are floating on the top of the cups off, and then we're going to get into slurping.
Right. Okay.
All right. Fun part now.
So this is where we
This
start.
is
This
it.
is where we get jazzed. This is where we get jazzed up.
I like to curl my tongue up a little bit because what we're doing is aerating our mouth. So we're really misting this coffee over our entire palate. All right. So.
Wow, that really, and it opens it up so much.
Absolutely, doesn't it? He's got to pick up the slurping. I haven't heard him cough once. Yeah, there you go. What do you think?
I think I'm over here for my favorite. This is.
Why do you like that coffee?
I like the balance of that one. It's got good body,
Yep.
low acidity. It's got almost a mango, tropical fruit kind of note to it.
At the end of the day, with all that great coffee in me, I had such a buzz going on that I decided to go back to base and get a good meal from the Camosun College Classroom Restaurant. As part of their studies, students at the college prepare and serve delicious meals for the general public, and this is just what I needed. And as these are some of my students, it had better be good. Here we go.
Fabulous. Well, now that I've come down off my coffee buzz, we're back in the kitchen, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Mayor Dean Fortin into the kitchen to come and cook with us today. We have been traveling all over Victoria, visiting all these wonderful coffee shops, because of course coffee in Victoria is it's a culture.
It's what we do, yep.
That's right. And what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little twist on the classic dish tiramisu.
Okay.
First thing we need to do, we need to make a creme anglaise, okay? Which is basically
sorry. A what?
a creme anglaise, which is basically custard. It's an egg custard.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so an egg thickened milk mixture, milk and sugar mixture. First thing we have to do is separate our eggs. And I'm gonna take those two out of there.
Okay.
Okay. We want the egg yolk in the pan and we want the egg white in this bowl here. So separate your egg into two and just drop that yolk back and forth until you get all the white off. There we go. We'll try and keep it in the pan, and that could go in the pot. If you want to do the other one,
It's because you're new at this, aren't you? No. Okay, the other one. You want to do the other one.
you
Okay.
can juggle if you want.
There's three types of people in this world. Those that can count and those that can't.
Those that can and can't, yeah.
Okay.
So, your foray into politics has been relatively new, isn't it? You've been.
Yeah, well, I served a couple terms as counselor.
Yep.
That was kind of fun. I mean, I was working at the Burnside Gorge Community Center. Before that, working with street kids. Before that, I misspent youth as a lawyer.
Perfect. So we're going to get on with this. So we've got our
Yeah.
egg yolks in the pot.
Yep.
We're going to add
right?
Three.
Three,
I did
okay.
two. I did two. So we're going to give that about a third of a cup of sugar. I'm going to give you a little whisk
That
here.
exacting measure. that's
Exacting
amazing,
measure.
yes.
If you just want to stir those together, I've got my milk out.
Now, does it work better left to right, right to left?
Depends if you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere.
I'm going to enjoy working with you. I can see why your show is number one.
Okay, so then we're going to take this one over. Actually, if you want to keep stirring, I'm just going to add the milk, a third of a cup. And then in that little silver container there is some vanilla essence. If you want to just pour that into there, that's
of
measured. That's
vanilla.
about a teaspoon's worth.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to bring this over here and put it on the heat. Now we want to make sure that this just comes up to this, doesn't want to simmer. It's going to come up, the eggs are going to start to coagulate and thicken, and the whole mixture will become thicker, but we don't want it to boil. Otherwise we're going to have scrambled eggs.
Okay, so keep stirring. Is that the
Just keep stirring. Yeah, you don't have to stir madly, just sort of gently and fairly moderate heat. If you're doing a small batch like this, it only takes a few minutes.
Yeah.
So that looks like it's coming. See how it's just thickening up a little
Yeah,
bit there?
yeah.
It's almost there. We just want to be very
there's
gentle.
good.
And that's perfect. You see how that's just
Yeah, it's
thickened
got a
up
nice,
there?
beautiful consistency.
Perfect. Okay, so what
Kind
we're
of like
gonna
a
do,
paste.
what we're going to do is if we just tip that towards the camera so they can
Oh.
see what's going on there, and then pour that through the strainer because we want to take that off the heat now. So because there's a residual heat in the pan, we'll continue to cook it.
Okay.
So just dump that through there, and that'll catch any of those little chunky bits that were left over from the egg.
So that's what.
Perfect. Well, if you ever want to get out of politics, your career is set here in cooking and pastry. So just give it a little stir. It only takes a few seconds, and as you can see, this is already almost cool. So by the time we get everything else ready, that will be good for us.
Okay.
That out of the way. We'll put that there for the time being. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to prepare our cups. So we're going to serve these in coffee cups.
You kind of got a coffee thing going.
That's right. So we
Well
thought,
done.
why not?
Okay.
Coffee
Yeah,
cups, it works perfect. So if I can ask you to pass me that lemon cake, what I'm going to do here is I've actually bought this. You can make your own, but I bought this. Is just a lemon pound cake.
Yep.
So what we're going to do with these is I need to cut 12 because I need 2 for each.
Ah, okay.
So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. And then what we're going to do,
Well done.
we're going to take these guys. We've got a ring cutter.
Yep.
That's going to fit in our coffee cup. We're going to cut those out, drop them in each cup.
Oh, let me do that.
Okay, there we go. What I'll do is I'll swap those over to that side so you can reach everything.
Okay.
So you mentioned kids and homeless people and that kind of thing. What's the future for that in Victoria?
I think over the last 3 years, we've really made a significant dent in it. Yeah. The problem's still out there. It is something that we still have to tackle. I think we need to, frankly, redouble our efforts. And whether you come at it from a moral perspective, an economic perspective, we did some studies. We took 40 of the hardest to house, got them into housing. They were responsible for 6,000 police calls in 3 years, 1,000 in the last year alone. Got them into housing. The amount of police calls dropped to 250, so 75% reduction in police calls. We got to keep that. We'll keep that train rolling. That was important to us.
So this is the good bit, a little bit of Kahlua. Okay, it's not for me. It's not for me quite yet. But so what we're going to do is we're just going to give a little sprinkle. Okay. Onto each piece of cake. Uh-huh. So while you're finishing that, I'm going to carry on here with our egg mixture. Okay, so this is cool already. Okay. And then what I've got here, I'm just going to stretch across you there, is our mascarpone. It's basically a type of cream cheese, but made from cream. Yeah. So it's a very rich, heavy, dense cheese. It's beautiful. You can't beat it. So again, we're going to throw that into our custard mixture. Okay. And then we're just going to whisk these together until we get a nice smooth mixture. Okay. And you really want to make sure this is silky smooth. Then I've got some very, very strong coffee. Okay. And this I just made with instant coffee. Okay. We want about 2 tablespoons worth in there.
That's amazing.
So this is our filling. Okay. So what we're going to do with this one then is just take a ladle full of our mixture. Okay. Maybe a little extra in there, and put a layer of the mix in there. There we go. I'm going to give that one to you. Oh, okay. And you can carry on. What we'll do is we'll swap places here.
Okay.
There we go. I tell you what, and I'll do this because then we can work. And you carry on filling those. I'll put the second layer of sponge in there. Okay. As I say, this is not a low-fat dish. It's not something you're going to eat every day, but for a treat, this is really delicious. Okay. Okay, so we put our second layer of sponge in there. What I'm going to do is get another shot of Kahlua, and we could do the same with this one. Just a little splash. Do you want to take over and do the rest of those? I got the first one out.
I gotta say, there was an impulse of what to do with this shot glass, and it wasn't poured into.
It wasn't poured into the coffee cups.
Oh, I think that one got robbed.
That one got robbed. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yes. Actually, we're going to put another layer of the mix in.
Oh, fantastic.
And that can go almost to the top. We just want to leave a little rim around there.
Make sure everybody gets some, and then we'll come back.
We can come back and top it all up. Right. I guess it's kind of like doing the city's finances, isn't it? Give everybody a little bit.
That's
is any
secret,
left over?
A little bit. Everybody gets a little.
Everybody gets a little bit. They all feel like they're being looked after.
Yeah, that's the important part.
So it's got to be a challenge trying to keep everybody happy.
Being mayor is the coolest job in the world. And I probably shouldn't say that because now everybody's going to
want to do it.
Everybody's going to want it. But it is really cool. And it's hard work, it's long hours, but you have a chance, an opportunity to actually
make a difference
and make something happen. And I think long as, anybody who is in municipal politics, or actually frankly any politics, see it as an opportunity and not a job, then you're going to do what you think is right, what you believe to be right, and like I say, make your city a better place. Yeah.
We're just going to put these in the fridge for a few minutes just to help let them set up.
Yeah.
And they will chill down. Once again, we've got a whisk and a bowl. I'm going to give you the easy one. I'll give you the cream. Okay? You can whip the cream, and I'm going to whip the egg whites.
Okay. You see how the professional chose to do the eggs, and I got the much harder.
The whipping cream.
The whipping cream.
The easy one.
It's the easy one, he says.
And what we're looking for is that nice soft peak. As I say, I don't want it to look crumbly. I don't want it to look dry.
Yeah.
So you see how those peaks are. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to give it a little bit of sugar, because this, again, will help stabilize it. Yeah. Because the sugar, what it does is, again, it dissolves a little bit. And then you're probably ready for some sugar in there, too. Just a little bit. As I say, what it does is it just helps to stabilize it. And you know the way to test egg whites if they're whipped properly, don't you? See if it sits up. Those are perfectly whipped. There's nothing wrong with those at all. Oh. How are we doing with the whipped cream? We're almost there.
Almost there.
Again, we're looking for that nice soft peak. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring these two together. Now, the important thing here is if we put these two together and try and whip them, they're just going to flop. All the air we've incorporated will be beaten out. So we're going to fold them together.
Okay. Egg whites on top of the cream, or the cream on top of the egg white?
Egg whites on top of the cream, because the eggs are much lighter than the cream. Okay. The cream would squash it. And then coming round the bowl, literally fold the two together. So you see, we're not knocking that air out. We're simply just bringing the two together, and it takes probably 5 or 6 movements, and that's all we're going to do. Okay?
Wow. There we go.
Beautiful. Can I have that little shaker there, please?
That little shaker.
So this is just a little bit of cocoa powder. You've done this before. You've done this before, and then we can take these guys and set them on our saucers.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? I kind of like that.
Okay, I like this a lot.
Well, Mayor Fortin, it's been an absolute pleasure cooking with you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for taking care of our city, because we do appreciate it.
Don't we have the most amazing city in the world?
We certainly do.
We're graced to be here. Thank you.
And those are some of the flavors of Victoria. When whisking egg whites, the most important thing you have to remember is that the bowl and your whisk must be spotlessly clean. No fat or oil anywhere, and no egg yolk in the egg white. Once you've got that done, whisking them by hand is really quite an easy process, ready for you to use in mousses, meringues, or any other dishes you choose. Here we are once again with our very own cork door, Mr. Rod Phillips.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, Rod, we've got a tiramisu cappuccino.
Absolutely, and I love tiramisu and I love cappuccinos. And anybody who knows me knows that if my blood caffeine level drops to dangerous lows, it's not good for anybody. So one of my favorite after dinner or before tiramisu wines is a Moscato. Moscato is a grape that actually has a lot of peachy. Does it smell like fresh peaches?
Oh.
Yeah. You'll notice it's got a tiny little bubble, and they call it frizzante.
Frizzante.
This is the Michele Chiaro Navoli Moscato di Asti. So it comes from the Asti region of Italy. Now put that with the tiramisu, that little bit of mocha in the tiramisu, and I think you've got a winner.
Those little bubbles are a nice surprise,
great?
aren't they?
Yeah.
You can hardly see them, but once they're in
Do a
there,
little dance there, yeah.
your whole mouth is just a little party in your mouth.
Exactly. So the next one we're going to do is a classic that would go with, if you're in Italy, you'd probably have a Vinsanto. This is the year 2000, vintage 2000, from Red Rooster. So there's not a ton of it around, but it is a beautiful wine.
Again,
with this.
very, very deep, rich aroma.
Absolutely. So you'll notice that we're talking now about close to 12 years old.
Yeah.
This wine has aged beautifully, and that's about the acidity and the sugar in the wine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Rod. Oh, dear. There's a little nuttiness comes through the backside.
Did you want to go off by yourself for a while?
I might just see you later. We'll talk about this a little bit later on. That's
Excellent.
delicious.
Isn't that fantastic?
It really is a delicious
and it's
wine.
made right here in BC. We can do that kind of quality. The last thing we have here is a classic limoncello.
Oh, limoncello.
Limoncello.
Just bring that. And of course, because we used a lemon pound cake, we've got that little bit of citrus in there,
a little bit of
lemon
citrus in there.
Which, of course, lemon and coffee really do work well
They
together.
do. Limoncello is just one of my favorite things.
You don't want to drink a lot of it, but what you get is just
It's all about the
fabulous.
flavor. It is all about the flavor.
Beautiful, beautiful. Rod, as always, wonderful job.
Well,
excellent.
thank you.
And I can't wait to pair some of these up with our cappuccino tiramisus.
Let's do it.
Thanks a lot.